We're here with Dr. Richard Crowley of sportsmaker.com. Dr. Crowley is a sports psychologist and author of Mental Ball. Dr. Crowley, was hoping you could tell us today, how do athletes come in contact with the yips?
You'll never find the why, and even if you know exactly why and when it happens, what do you do with it? It will come out of the blue. For no reason at all, it will just grab a player. Or some of the quote reasons, which don't make sense either, is maybe you're being scouted. A number of times people have been in gymnasiums like in the Midwest during winter and it's the inclement weather, and so a catcher's in there and all of a sudden he's noticing some windows over there, some things that's atypical when he's in a field, and somehow he starts to think for the first time throwing the ball. Not that it does it for everyone, but that's one way it shows up. Another way it gets if some person goes to a new baseball field, or you go from one school to another, or you're the new kid on the block. A lot of times when you go from high school into college, you could be, an ace pitcher, and then you get into college and it's a whole different playing ground. So anything that shifts things, or especially if you've been given a scholarship, I work with many players on scholarship, or they get a signing bonus of $500,000 or 1.3, and the pressure. So something translates into pressure, and they all tell me it's not pressure playing in the ball game, Doc. I love the pressure. That does not bother me. This pressure I can't explain. So the pressure comes in and tightens the body, and they're not even aware of where it's coming from. So it can come from anywhere, but even if you knew exactly where it was, what are you going to do? What not to do is psychotherapy. Sitting there and talking about it is going to put more noise in the player's head. The last thing you want is more thoughts going on. Medication, I'm opposed to medication because this is not psychological. It's a normal anxiety people are having that they can get rid of with the process I have. I suggest not to do it. Some people call it post-traumatic stress syndrome. I'd argue against that completely. It is not psychological. It's not even mental. It's basically weird. That's the term. But people are so afraid in baseball, from the top of baseball all the way down, to discuss this throwing problem where you have to think and throw at the same time, or you try to. But they don't discuss it. They stick their head in the sand. Many coaches are not trained in it or aware of it. The only ones who get to me are kids will go online, their dad will go online, they'll search me in Google, they'll search in YouTube and find me, and that's how they'll see it and go, I got it. I suggest anyone who's seeing this, you don't have to get to my site and email me if you don't want to. There's a survey, a 100 question survey at sportsmaker.com. If you think your kid has it, or if your coach and think your player has it, or if you, the player, think you have it, just go there and you can print it out yourself rather than send it to me if you don't want to. And just click on it and just check off the boxes and you'll see yourself in there. And as a coach or a dad, I'd have you have your kid check it off, have the player check it off, and don't give any advice ever. Stop giving your advice to these kids. Have them look at it and say, tell me more about this. Tell me more about the wrist is tight. Tell me more about I'm forced to lob it. Tell me more about all these weird things that are going on, and let the player discuss it for the first time. It's been a secret. It's been kept secret. Players call me and think they're the only one in the world with it. They feel like they're a leper. No one talks about it. The embarrassment they go through of feeling they have a gun next to their head to have to lob the ball back. And it goes on all the time. It's just been there.
So, Dr. Crowley, if a athlete contacts you and is looking for help, what is your approach, or how do you typically work with an athlete these days?
I just walk them through a process. It sounds pretty weird, but your problem's weird. The right brain deals with emotions. Left brain can't get near it. So I take them into their right brain, in particular their imagination, and that's where all the emotions are. Our fear, our anxiety, our worry, our being hopeless and helpless. And the imagination is able, through the process I have, to show the player, to translate it into an image. Once you can see an image of your fear, your anxiety, this Yips character, you can not only conquer it, you can destroy it and bring back the feeling you had and the mindset you had before this ever came in you. And you're back without a thought in the back of your head ever again throwing the ball. You're that confident, you're happy, and you're back.
Does your work have to be performed face-to-face, or can...
Do it all on the phone.
Okay.
Just about 99% of the people want to come up and meet me. I says, save the gas, save flying out here. You don't need to do it. Every ball player I work with primarily is on the phone.
How effective would you say, or what has been your results working with players as far as them overcoming the yips?
I get about a 95% rate of it. I tell people, if you stay with me, get back to me every 3 or 4 days, just go through this kind of small program. It's not intense, it's real quick. And within 2 to 3 hours, the first hour I work with them, they go to practice for 3 or 4 days, do usually a half-hour follow-up, sometimes longer, another half-hour follow-up, sometimes a 15-minute tweak here, a 15-minute tweak here, and within 2 to 3 hours, their problem's gone in 95% of the time, permanently.
Well, Dr. Crowley, thank you for sharing information and appreciate it.
Thank you.